People with disability have to take control of their life, wherever they are, whatever they want to do. And that effort to understand that you are not a beneficiary. What it requires is investment. If you don't invest in disability, if you don't make disability a part of the development discourse, then you will continue to give this 5,000 rupees or 6,000 rupees now in Delhi for, people with high support need. But if you invest, say, about 50,000 crore to just make India disabled friendly, removing barriers, and then people with disability will be able to come and participate in education, in labor market, they will add. I think it's important that we call out every act of discrimination, particularly when you are a consumer of a product or a service. If I'm using an Uber or I'm going to buy something from a retail store, and if I am not treated as par at any other customer just because of my disability, they should be called out.
Hello and welcome to the India Autism Center podcast. We are at the Purple Fest Goa 2025 and I have a very special guest with me here today. Somebody who's a veteran in this space but still one of the youngsters in the space as well. Arman Ali, the Executive Director of NCPEDP. Arman, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast.
Thank you so much, Nipun.
Arman, you joined NCPEDP in 2018.
You're right.
And you're filling big shoes, taking over from Mr. Abidi, who was like the father of the sector. How was that experience for you?
One, I think, Nipun, I can never fill that shoe. Yeah, none of us can. But I'm trying to stitch my own shoe of my size. It's been a great learning experience. Every day feels like a new day, and I go to work or pick up work with the same excitement as I started back in 2018.
And you shifted from Assam to Delhi. That must have been quite a shift. Delhi is a very different. It's a different ballgame. It's a different creature in that sense. So
I think, yes, I've been visiting Delhi from the time I was 15, 16 years old very frequently, but living in the city is a different ballgame, yes. But Delhi has its own charm and beauty, and it is the power center for anything that you want to get done in India. You have to come to Delhi no matter who you are.
No, of course. And Delhi is the political capital of India. And I know at the Purple Fest, you've been doing a lot of events on political participation of people with disabilities as well. How far is this country, according to you, from having people with disabilities in local governments? I know Tamil Nadu is doing a lot of interesting work.
But Tamil Nadu is there, Rajasthan is doing it. There is a lot of push in Telangana already. There is Chhattisgarh who is come forward. And I don't think it is going to take a very long time. We'll see. I think India is a young country, and disabled people are also young, and they have their own agency. We are living in an era where you don't really have to be physically present to protest or to participate. We are in different modes. People are more articulate to express their opinion or their dissent and so on. And large number of people with disability and their family members. So political participation is unavoidable. It has to be done for the good of the nation building. Otherwise, disabled people will continue to remain a cost, a liability, and always a charity and a welfare issue.
No, I completely agree with you. In fact, I think I could not have articulated it better than you did. Right. But at the same time, I don't see, you said protest, but while litigation has become very active in this space, and I think that is a very good thing, I think protest has actually gone down. We've not really seen a mass movement protest.
I was trying to say that the design of protest has changed. You have regimes has fallen down due to social media. Social media is a great medium for forming opinions, and youth today is using it in a very powerful way. And it also gives a lot of agency for people with disability who otherwise find it very difficult to mobilize themselves. You cannot sit like the farmer protest that happened in India for more than a year or so, and because everything is designed without thinking about people with disability. If I can talk about transport system, if you talk about other infrastructure or built environment, so it's that much more difficult to organize and mobilize people with disability to come in person, and also it's changing. The social media has a lot of power. We are in different era altogether.
No, I completely agree with you. And I think both of us are very active on social media in that sense. I remember that famous battle that you had with Uber, in fact, on social media. Do you want to tell the audience about that. And what would be your advice to a young person with a disability on how can they use social media to create change?
No, I think it's important that we call out every act of discrimination each time, no matter who it is. I mean, if you think that this discrimination or being treated uh, humiliation or treated not at par must be called out, particularly when you are a consumer of a product or a service. If I'm using an Uber or I'm going to buy something from a retail store, and if I am not treated as par at any other customer just because of my disability, they should be called out. And that is what I do. And calling them out, putting out there for other people to follow suit. Like you see, I called out Harbhajan Singh's that mimic dance.
I think FIR bhi ki thi aapne
Yeah, yeah. I filed a police complaint. Unfortunately, it is not converted into an FIR because of legal technicalities. But then that gave people to the courage and idea to sue the other comedians who were insulting SMA conditioned people. So you see that.
You're talking about the Samay Rana case.
Yeah, Samay Rana case. So how did it start? You start a trend. Then people speak to you. Can we do this? I said, please do it. So anybody who does it, and it doesn't have to be somebody like me, it can be any lay person. I have used litigation a lot. So Uber was one thing I that was unfortunate. I missed a flight. I was the national anthem thing when it was called a Pakistani in a cinema hall. I wrote to the Chief Justice at that time to not make national anthem mandatory to play, and if you play it, it should be friendly for people with disability and all. And that's, kind of also helped. And Uber in particular, the taxi driver refused to take my wheelchair in the back seat of the car because the boot could not hold it. There was a CNG cylinder. He asked me to get off the cab and I had to miss the flight. And the next flight I had to pay another 18,000 rupees and then missed work. And so I think just because of my disability, he did it. The wheelchair was a problem. They would put any size of a bag on the back seat without asking, a question. But this acute lack of understanding that people with disability are also consumers of products and service. Their families are, also coming with them. I come from a large family. We have 6 brothers, 8 nieces and nephews and other families. So wherever we go to eat or watch a movie, it has to be accessible because I go with the family. And so, if all of us eating somewhere, you have a fat bill out of the, wherever we go, whether it's movie thing, we giving that much more business because it is accessible. And it doesn't discriminate against anybody, whether you are disabled, non-disabled, these facilities does not discriminate.
I don't think India can become a developed country without ignoring people with disabilities from the economy.
Of course, there's no doubt about it.
But I'm glad you mentioned that police complaint. Even I've gone to a lot of police stations and tried making police complaints, but a lot of the police doesn't even know Section 92 of the RPWD Act when it comes to discrimination.
Right.
And I'm sure you face similar experiences as well.
Right.
Equal opportunity policy is another thing which a lot of companies don't know about. But POSH guideline के बारे में कोई company नहीं सोचेगी कि हमें नहीं.
Right.
So why is there this lack of implementation of laws that already exist when it comes to disability?
And that's a lack of political will, I think so. And also, if you look at disability from a global south perspective, it is still looked at as a medical issue or a medical problem. This mindset of and India is a welfare state, I must say, and with great nation, it still wants to look after people. And that's why you see you getting free food ration to eat. You're getting guaranteed employment 100 days. You're getting free education up to the age of 18 for people with disability. You see there's so many pensions that run in India for elderly, for for disabled people, for unmarried women, for widows.
So are you against disability pensions?
No, I'm just saying. So India is a welfare state, is what I'm trying to say. So it looks after its people, but what it requires is investment. If you don't invest in disability, if you don't make disability a part of the development discourse, then you will continue to give this 5,000 rupees or 6,000 rupees now in Delhi for people with high support need per month is a cost. But if you invest, say, about 50,000 crore to just make India disabled friendly, removing barriers, and then people with disability will be able to come and participate in education, in labor market, they will add. they'll become consumer of so many products and services. And that's how the country, India's biggest strength is that we are a large population, and we are very consumer is huge. We consume a lot of stuff. We don't need to look at outsiders. Our own people are able to bring that kind of economy, going thing. And if you're keeping about millions of people with disability, I don't know what the numbers would be. And the numbers are different because you also don't relate with the disability so much. Disabled people themselves also think that they have some kinds of illness and they can be fixed, or they say thoda problem hai baki theek hai. So it's like that. So if you don't identify yourself, then there is no investment. And if no investment, then you continue to be a cost. If you're a cost, the cost will be look to be cut down. When the cost is cut down, the quality goes down, your life quality goes down, and then you are a liability. You're already dependent. And then there are a few exceptions are there who make it make it more success story for themselves. But it's a struggle.
But what needs to happen to remove these social stigmas around disability?
I think people with disability have to take control of their life, wherever they are, whatever they want to do. And that effort to understand that you are not a beneficiary. India, as I said, is a welfare state. There are, like, if free ration is given to 80 crore households, I don't know that was a number, I think so. Or pension been given to from farmers to army men to so many. So you don't have to be apologetic about yourself if you're getting, certain, support from the government through a scheme. Those are important, but you need to change the way you are. You're not, and you just can't just stop there. That being this beneficiary of a pension scheme or any other scheme, you just not the end of it all. You need to look at other opportunities. You need to become a leader. You take control of your life. You have to challenge the status quo, whether it is in your own house or your neighborhood or the city, your school, your college, your office, your friends. You have to keep talking about it. You have to, and I think we need to get organized. It's very important that you organize yourself. You know your disability well. You look after your health. What is that you need has to come from you. Somebody else will not decide. And I think that is when it will change. So if you want to be in the parliament, you have to start with the Gram Panchayat or wherever. You have to start. Nobody else will come and give it on your platter. You have to know how to grab it, how to snatch it from somebody and take.
But I know you're doing a lot of work on politics and disabilities. Do you think attitudes amongst parties is changing on disability right now?
Yeah, I see. Yesterday at Purple Fest, we had a very good discussion on disabled people in politics. I had 3 large political parties present. One youth leader was there. And one of the state minister and one sitting MP was also there. And the discourse was so that it moved away from disability and into the mainstream politics. We discussed about petrol prices and other, contentious issues were discussed from each party to another. And it was very, I think, encouraging. We run a forum on disability of members of parliament. There is a lack of commitment from the party chief, but there is no denial that there is a need.
Are you referring to any particular party here, or when you say party?
No, all of them. Yesterday in the panel, I think the Honorable Minister said that there has to be a reservation for people with disability in political participation at all levels, whether through nomination or through the constituency, which would be kept reserved only for people with disability where they can contest. So there are interesting ideas, and nobody is gonna come and give it to you on a platter. So you look at my friend Deepak, how he has been from the time I know he's been very political about it, and everything in this world is political. So to be able to understand and using it is you gone are the days and you say that I'm apolitical and I don't want to be a part of any system. Disability is a political issue. And the problem is because there is no political will.
But are there any political parties in India that you would like to highlight that are doing particularly good work when it comes to
No, I think there's none that could be highlighted at the moment. But everybody
I agree with you.
Yeah, the none could be highlighted, but they're keeping the relationship warm. That's a good thing.
It's a start. It's an improvement over the past.
Yes, from cold calls to keeping a little warm, you being getting recognized, you're flying out of somewhere, coming to Goa to speak in a panel. So it's important. They want pictures to be posted on their official handles that they were part of this important program. I think that's a recognition. And start small. It's up to the sector how we behave, how we act, and politics is something that is not only limited to disabled people. When you enter politics, you have to have the capacity to take care of
To address everybody, of course. Yeah.
So that capacity, do we have it in us or not, is the question. And if you have the capacity, and if you can win, nobody can stop you. Nobody can stop you.
Of course, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
You spoke about welfare schemes in the past, and even though there are welfare schemes around disability, the UDID card process has become so complicated that a lot of people with disabilities don't even manage getting a UDID card to manage availing those facilities. So, what is your view on that, and how do you think can it be
So, from the
simplified?
time I am in the sector, I think there's always been discussion on ID cards. Earlier, the Persons with Disability Act 1995, there was a board which was sitting in the civil hospital every district on a particular day. You had to go physically, and the day you go to the hospital, maybe from one district to another, from one village to another district headquarter, it takes your public transport or hire a taxi for those who don't have, or a private transport. And then going there, finding that one doctor is not turned up. Then it was a never. Now the process trying to make it a little more portal. You can self-declare. It's nice, and the process is being made a little tough is because there is a lot of misuse. There's a lot.
Pooja
of
Ketkar case, for example. Yeah.
That's one thing which came out. There are I think thousands and lakhs of people who have taken fake disability certificate, and or minor disability has become a benchmark disability. And so to monitor that, I think the department is trying to make it a little more tough.
And I think it's a tricky balance, right? While making
It's
it
a tricky
tough.
balance
Yeah.
because of us and the people that we are. We always want a jugaad and always want a shortcut. There are many scams also. Also you can look at scribes now, the new notification. This is also another concern.
No, of course. I mean, I think scribes, there are big scams going on in
Yeah,
BSc.
right. But if we say like that, it hurts a lot of people.
Exactly. So it's a tricky balance. I think everything is a tricky balance that way. But
I think self-awareness is very important. As I said, you need to look after yourself. You need to do what you need to do.
what are your other focus areas in NCPDP right now? We've spoken about politics, but what else are you?
So I think we're focusing on health insurance for people with disability. We would want Ayushman Bharat to also cover people with disability, irrespective of disability, age, and income criteria. And this is also getting very good response. We just conducted a large study in the country, and we'll be releasing the report later this week or next week. Yeah. We are focused on political participation, this Member of Parliament forum.
That we spoke in detail, of course.
Yeah. We are focused on assistive technology hub. We want to make a large ecosystem for assistive technology, make it affordable, make it easily available, and people should have a choice of what kind of technology that will make them life easy. There are many things that we are doing, like access to justice, but to top of my mind, these are the three things that we are currently focused on. But there are many other things, exciting things is in the pipeline. I personally want to continue to engage more with youth with disability. You know about my fellowship program, so that and
There might be some youth talking about. So, do you want to talk about your fellowship for people to apply?
No, I mean, we are not accepting applications in the moment. We are overloaded. But wherever it is ready, we will announce it in all platforms. I wanted to say the census of 2027, is again a huge responsibility from the sector, and we are also prioritizing.
I'm glad you mentioned the census, because I've also been talking about the census, but I think the sector overall has been very quiet. And it's unfortunate because I think the census is going to decide in the next 10 years about disability.
Yesterday we had a session on census as well. I had the government on the panel, the department. I had the former census commissioner personally there. I spoke at length about a lot of challenges that they have, and it clears our mind. What should be the focus? And and this census is also going to be digital, so where self-enumeration is one of the options.
Which is a great opportunity,
It is a
actually.
great opportunity, but again, the challenge of awareness remains.
Budgetary allocations on disability have also been very low in this country historically. What do you think can we do to improve that?
I don't know. I really don't have answers. Even if it is 10,000 crore or 20,000 crore being put, where do you spend that money? What is your focus? Do 10,000 crore go in aids and appliances, or 10,000 crore go in making the country accessible? So this needs a deeper understanding of the budget. So look at the budget of certain state, which is more than the budget that DPWD have for disability per se. So it needs a little more deliberation. It needs more people with disability who understand the entire uh, lifespan of people with disability, and also the intersectionality of disability. That is like whether a person disabled and a woman, and then also a person with disability woman, and then wants to go to a certain kind of college for a certain degree, and then transport, and then you have to look at the building, and then you have to look at the services, then products, and there's diversity that we have in our country, like from caste to religion to your geography, and that's how you think the budget will have to be allocated. It just cannot be one size fit all. It just cannot. So multiple things.
No, I completely agree with you. And I think all ministries need to start thinking about disability more aggressively. When the Chandrachud story came out, former Chief Justice Eva Chandrachud, that उनको घर नहीं मिल रहा अपनी daughters के लिए. It was such a shame that, Delhi में capital में such a VIP is not getting you. One can imagine what the government was.
It's unfortunate, but it's true. I also live in a rented house in Delhi, and it's actually very difficult to find.
I agree with you. I face the same challenges with my rented house as well.
But you have multiple houses, sir.
क्या बात कर रहे हो यार?
अरे आपके पास तो है, आप तो दिल्ली वाले हैं. हम लोग दूर गांव से आ रहे हैं.
I think I've actually been denied a house by a landlord saying that we won't allow a person with a disability, and he said that अपने parents के नाम पे अगर आप लोगे तो हम दे देंगे. I said that's an insult here.
There are many issues we deal on an everyday basis which you really don't talk about, and also Nipun, I feel that so many times that I'm in news for reasons which is not nice, like Uber or the national anthem, or my polling booth being on the first floor, or and so on and so forth. Like in anything, it looks like you're always cribbing, always complaining, and then you don't want to be the part of the solution. And that's not true. My childhood friend, of 40 years, I will tell you. I went to his house, I think last year for the first time, because he has finally bought a flat where
Which is accessible.
which is accessible. It's you don't understand it, emotion. Your best friend, you're the closest guy. He's always in my house.
आपने गड़बड़ कर दी. अब लोगों को पता चल गया 40 years के हो, नहीं तो 30 सोचते लोग आपको देख के.
नहीं, 40 साल तक से बहुत ज्यादा उम्र है मेरी. मैं तो 60 साल का हूँ.
Maybe in experience and maturity, but not in looks.
Yeah, 60 साल का हूँ. और ageism आज तो is just a number. And only when you look after yourself, only when you know what is important and right for you. Yeah. So, and all that thing, no, but how you're not able to participate in simple things like going to your friend's house to have coffee or tea or any other festivity. You're not part of Diwali, you're not part of Durga Puja, you're not part of Eid, there are so many things. India is a country where every day there's some celebration or the other. How many of them are you to participate? Our participation means that when you're socializing, when you're meeting with people, when you have your friends around, सब आपके घर पे मिलने आए, आप कौन है? एक दो आएंगे, बाकी तो आएंगे नहीं.
And that's social exclusion, right?
Exclusion. So there are multiple issues. Where do you want to put your money? Where do you want to think? And then there are people with disability who don't understand it with their limited understanding. If they want to lead, तो क्या कहते हैं उसको? I don't want to use the example as saying, you don't have the right knowledge and then you get into this. It's a very responsible role. It's not about you. You have to understand from a large perspective. I use a wheelchair. I'm sitting on a chair. But I use a wheelchair only for a mobility aid. I see you. You always sit on a wheelchair. There's so many other people do so many other things. Some people stand up.
But this is such a spectrum, right? So
Yeah, and it's an evolving issue.
But you spoke about the media as well. And I think you rightly said that media either covers sensational news or inspiration porn, as I like to call it. How can we get out of that trap in the media for the media to cover real
तो हम लोग
meat and
अगर
potato issues on
sense बात
disability?
करेंगे ना, if we have an opinion, I was telling you about yesterday's the political participant session. In that argument, they started talking about what about the petrol prices, what about that? That is where I felt that it is changing. We should be able to we must have an opinion about everything in this country. Everything that is decided, whether it is about disability or not, we should have an opinion. It's not only कि disability का budget कितना है, देश का budget कितना है, कहाँ कट हो रहा है पैसा, डिसेबिलिटी पे कट हो रहा है नहीं हो रहा अलग बात है, बट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में कितना कट हो गया, ओवरऑल एजुकेशन में कितना कट हो गया, हाँ, डिफेंस बजट कितना हो गया. आई एम जस्ट सेइंग अगेन यू ब्रिंग इट आउट टू अ स्टेट लेवल, देन अ पंचायत लेवल, देन एंड दैट्स वेयर यू चेंज, देन पीपल लिसन टू यू, दे वांट टू आस्क यू. ऐसा तो नहीं, एवरीबॉडी वांट्स टू डू गुड स्टोरी. And how can you ignore disabled people in India? The world's largest number of disabled people are in India. Can you ignore them?
Absolutely not. Completely agree with you. Thank you so much for joining the podcast, Arman.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.